The key values of IBCS is that it leverages the existing NATO relationships, these pre-existing technologies which have proven themselves time and time again in the battlefield, but also is showing to be able to incorporate the sovereign technologies of the host country and to be able to be expanded to new technologies in the future. So as Taiwan is looking to make their decision on IBCS, what they need to do is to consider how they want to structure their air and missile defense systems, how they want to incorporate proven technologies with sovereign capability to ensure that you can protect the homeland in the best way possible.
Hello， 大家好，欢迎加入一件军外套，每周跟您军事外交 talk， 我是相振为。今天我们非常难得出了外景，来到东欧国家波兰。为什么来到波兰呢？我们要先从源头开始说起。台湾目前正希望打造台湾之盾 T 栋，来强化我们的空防能力。但是一个很重要的概念是，我们要如何把国造的包括天空飞弹，还有跟对外采购的包括爱国者飞弹这两个系统能够做一个整合，来发挥最大的效力，而不是各过各的。那就非常的重要。那美商诺格公司 Northrop Grumman 他们提供了一个方案，叫做 IBCS， 可能很多人都听过，它的全称是 Integrated Battle Command System。这个系统呢，就能够整合不同的系统，让他们能够进行到整合，而且有个很重要的概念，叫做 Any Sensor。Best shooter， 意思就是说，我在 A 点雷达所发射到的目标，那可以交由 B 点的防空飞弹来进行拦截，那能够发挥到最大的效用。而且他们能够导入 AI， 能够过滤掉杂讯，并且自动判定它的威胁等级。那今天来到波兰，很重要的原因就是因为波兰是美国以外第一个海外用户、第一个海外采用 IBCS 的国家，而且他们在去年达到了 FOC Full Operational Capability 完全作战能力。那他们经验可以供给其他国家拿来当做一个很重要的参考。那我们今天很难得能够到他们军方这边来进行访谈，了解他们在换装的过程。还有他们所得到的经验，接下来就听看我们这段独家访问。好，我们今天非常荣幸能够邀请的是诺格在波兰的总经理来，让他们跟我们谈谈他们在 IBCS 上使用，还有他们换装的一些经验。So we are very honored to have Mr. Quinn Canole. He's the managing director and the site lead of the Northrop Grumman in Poland, and we welcome him to join us and share his knowledge about IBCS and everything that he knows. Hello, Quinn. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, very nice to meet you.
So we are very grateful to have you with us because you have a lot of experience here in Poland. But the first question we want to know is that why is IBCS ideal for countries like Poland?
So IBCS is ideal for a country like Poland because it allows us to continue to collaborate across nations between the United States and the Polish government to bring new technologies into Poland, to leverage sovereign capabilities, and to bring the most modern air and missile defense systems into a country like Poland that really needs it.
Mm-hmm. And Poland just achieved FOC, the full operational capability last year, right? And from your perspective, what's the most challenging part of the Polish armed forces during the transformation process?
So their declaration of full operational capability at the end of 2025 does follow their initial operational capability at the end of 2024. Mm-hmm. So this shows their continued commitment to their training and their embracing of this system. And as they look to the future, their ability to continue to add and grow this system with new developments and new technologies that they can incorporate into IBCS. Mm-hmm. So some of the areas that they need to continue to focus is with that continued training and continuing to embrace this technology as it goes forward.
Because they just achieved phase 1, right?
Yes.
And I remember that you just witnessed there's a live fire exercise called Iron Defender exercise. And could you share your experience that how does that work and how successful that exercise was?
Yes, it was very successful. So in September of 2025, we were able to witness a live fire exercise in Uska, Poland, where we were able to see the system function for the first time on Polish soil, to take down drones in flight and to be able to track and defeat systems real time. So it's a testament to not only the system, its efficiencies and effectivities, but also the training of the teams that are operating it and will be operating it in the future.
So you can see any sensor-based shooter that works, right?
Exactly. So we were able to take the initial systems and be able to combine them with the Patriot missiles and be able to take down drones in flight. And as we look to the future, again, it's one of these things that we view as a testament to the future success as well, because we're proving that these systems do function together, that they work, and they can meet the purpose that Poland needs.
May I follow up this question?
Yes.
Yeah. According to your knowledge from what you hear, what's the feedback from the frontline operators?
So the operators are very excited. So they not only like having access to some of the greatest air and missile defense systems like the Patriot batteries, but to know that they can continue to grow those systems, to incorporate new sovereign technologies that are developed right here in Poland, and to help integrate not only their solutions today, but build a system that is fully capable for the threats of tomorrow. So in short, they're very, very satisfied with the system, and they're very excited to be a part of this.
And you are going into phase 2, right? And I think that's the more challenging part than phase 1. And when integrating Polish indigenous radars, and what role does the original command control, the C2 system play?
Yes. And that is a good point, because the initial phase 1 system did incorporate the Patriot system and the Patriot radar. As we bridge into phase 2, that is where we're also bringing in the US made LTAMS radar as well. But what is most exciting is we are starting to collaborate and cooperate with Polish industry to bring in sovereign developed Polish systems, as well as the CAM-ER effector. Again, as you mentioned, it is the any sensor best shooter, so that we can make sure that we are being very flexible with IBCS, that we can incorporate these new technologies, and that we're continuing to build these bridges across the world between the US developed systems and the Polish and UK developed systems.
Will be the integration harder than before? Because it's a US first surface and Polish indigenous radars, and will be the integration more difficult than before?
So Poland took on a great challenge by embracing the IBCS system as well as its core architecture to be able to expand it to new sensors and new effectors. What is critical in these is the communication and the partnership that we have not only between the United States government and the Polish government, but also with industry, so Northrop Grumman and with the Polish industry. So we do make sure that we communicate very clearly with both sides, so that we're making sure we're pushing forward with a solution that works, and that we are all being very supportive and understanding as we develop and integrate these new effectors and these new sensors into the IBCS system.
Wow. And I remember that the phase 1 took about 1.5 years, right? And what about the phase 2? How long would you expect to complete, to achieve phase 2?
So we're still working on the final schedules for what that's going to take to roll out, but that is also because there are many parts of this that have to get integrated into the system. So like the new Sino radars, we've got the CAM-ER missiles and other effectors that we're evaluating. So we have to make sure that that we spend the time that is necessary with the Polish industry and the Polish government to ensure that they have the best solution for the phase 2 and the Visa and narrative programs.
Because you have a very good experience and successful experience in Poland, and Taiwan is watching. So you know that how can Taiwan learn from this hyper integration model? So what can we learn from Poland?
So as I mentioned, with Poland being a pioneer with IBCS, being the first international user of this system, and truly embracing the modularity that this system brings by incorporating Polish industry equipment alongside the United States equipment, I think Taiwan can look to this as a very similar model. So we take something that has a very strong NATO backing, something that has some core technologies like the Patriot systems enabled already, but as we look to the future, we do have that broader capability to incorporate locally developed sovereign technologies, and I think that can be something that would be core to the focus of Taiwan.
Yes, and you know the war in Ukraine is still ongoing, right? And we know that the drone is redefining the modern warfare. So can we learn from the Ukrainian air defense lesson and incorporate them into IBC, maybe like software updates?
So as we've been discussing, the modularity of the IBCS system and its ability to incorporate new technologies is one of the core backbones of its capability set. And as we've learned from what's going on in Ukraine today, the battle space changes over time, and it changes quickly sometimes. So the value of IBCS is that over time we can adapt new technologies, we can integrate things like AI and automation into the system so that we can develop this truly adaptive framework that allows us to create the solutions not just for today, but for the future battlefield of tomorrow.
So how confident are you with the Polish air defense system right now?
I am very confident in it. I'm very confident in Poland's ability to defend the eastern border and their ability to embrace new technologies alongside strong partnerships like we have with Northrop Grumman in the United States. And as they are looking into the future, they are considering those future threats and ensuring that they are going to continue to modernize and continue to bring forward a safe, protected solution for the Polish people.
Okay, so in addition to achieving the completion of phase 2, do you have any goals to achieve for the next step?
So our goals for the future of Poland and the future of IBCS is to continue to support the development of this system locally as new technologies come on board, as we look to different short-range air defense programs that we can continue to support here locally. That is going to be a strong priority for us. As we look towards AI and automation, how we can bring that to the field as well. But Poland has become an example for the international community to take on a truly networked system with any sensor and any effector being brought together through this network to show that we can develop something new. So the rest of the world is looking to Poland today, and they're looking to Poland to help show and lead the way that this type of networked system is possible and can be effective in the real world.
Yeah, the rest includes Taiwan.
Yes.
Like I mentioned. So do you have any words for the Taiwanese lawmakers and Taiwanese people regarding IBCS?
Yes, of course. As I've said a few times, the key values of IBCS is that it leverages the existing NATO relationships, these pre-existing technologies which have proven themselves time and time again in the battlefield, but also is showing to be able to incorporate the sovereign technologies of the host country and to be able to be expanded to new technologies in the future. So as Taiwan is looking to make their decision on IBCS, what they need to do is to consider how they want to structure their air and missile defense systems, how they want to incorporate proven technologies with sovereign capability to ensure that you can protect the homeland in the best way possible. And the best way possible is through a complete network system that allows for interoperability between any sensor and any effector.
So thank you so much for accepting our interview and share your knowledge, and we hope that we can adopt IBCS in Taiwan as soon as possible. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you so much.
波兰他们非常厉害，他们只花了1年半的时间就把他们爱国者飞弹整合进了 IBCS 的系统。但是接下来第2阶段就是真正困难的开始，因为他们要把他们欧系制造的飞弹跟雷达也同样的整合到这套美系的大脑当中。那诺格在波兰的分公司，他们其实在当中扮演了非常关键的角色。那来听听看他们如何帮助他们，以及他们独到的见解。Okay, then the first question is that we want to know from the background. So, what are the most pressing air defense threats to Poland right now? You know, what is the most threats Poland is facing right now?
So, as you probably know, Polish security environment right now is very complicated, and we face comprehensive threats. So, on our border, there is war between Ukraine and Russia, which also influence Polish security. I believe also the audience in Taiwan noted that there were several incursions of UAVs, which strikes Polish territory So we had several incidents. The first one even mortal. But nevertheless, in the last 2 years, we had also, like as I mentioned, several incursions of UAVs, which was sent by Russia. We don't know if they were against Ukrainian targets or there was sent to check the Polish air defense capabilities. Actually, according to many experts and people connected to Polish MOD, probably, there was perpetual actions planned by Russians, because there was not one, but dozens of those UAVs which, flew through the borders to some specific regions, which were pretty close to the military, significant facilities. So probably it was not like coincidence, not mistake. It was, pre-planned, perpetual actions from Russian side. So and of course, together with those intrusions of Polish airspace, we have kind of, classical, let's say, threats because, Poland is neighboring with Kaliningrad Oblast. It's part of the Russian territory, which is heavily militarized. There are Air Force base, there are ballistic missile brigades there. We neighboring also with Belarus, which is allied to Russian Federation, that Russian also use Belarusian territory, Belarusian airbase, for their actions.
Why is IBCS considered the indispensable solution for your national security? Because Poland is the first country outside US to use this system.
Yeah, so from our side, I think that selection or IBCS was very, it was very demanded capabilities for our air forces and our air defense in particularly, because we needed to create completely new air defense systems. In the past, our air defense was basically based on the post-Soviet solution. As you remember, Poland was part of the Eastern Bloc during the communist times, so we basically procured military equipment from the Soviet Union or our neighbors within the Eastern Bloc.
Yes.
So we needed to replace all those systems because they were obsolete. We didn't have access to the spare parts. And basically they are not able to meet demands on the contemporary battlefields. And we decided to procure several different systems, covering different layers. So when it comes to the medium range air defense, which is the highest level for us, we decided to procure Patriot PDB-8 systems. The first one was in the previous, the most modern version, as I mentioned, is PDB-8, but the 6 additional will be with the new radar, 360 degrees, a new generation radar, which is also right now being introduced to the US Army. So we decided to build our own system, which is called Narev, with our new with radar built by our defense industry, but using interceptors provided by the Brits, which is CAM extended range missiles. And for the very short range, we've got our own systems like manpads called Pioruns. We have the Pilica and others. So we basically had like very different kinds of capabilities. Some of them produced by the Polish industry, some provided by external providers, like in case of interceptors for short range, some by Americans, like Patriots I mentioned. Plus, of course, there are different kinds of air capabilities. Like we operate our own F-16 CD version, I believe, as Taiwan do, we decided to procure F-35, which are right now being introduced to our air forces. So basically, it's very complicated structure of different kinds of capabilities. And you know, as you know, regarding the air threats, as I mentioned, they are very complex, and we can expect, based on experience from Ukraine or from Iran right now and Iranian missile strikes, if there will be any kind of air attack against Poland, probably it will be based on different kinds of capabilities. So it's gonna to include, you know, like fake UAVs, which will be, you know, designated to kind of, you know, overuse of the capabilities of our air forces, because, you know, there will be too many targets, you know, being followed by our air defense. They will include, you know, like strike aimed UAVs against some kind of the threats, cruise missiles, you know, shot by air forces or by naval platforms, plus the most complicated threats, which are ballistic missiles. So it can be kind of the mix of different kinds of capabilities. So basically, I think this is a reason we decided to procure the system which is able to combine all those elements and decide which targets, you know, are kind of the priorities, which targets we can intercept, you know, using like less advanced measures, like counter UAVs capabilities or cheaper short range missiles, and which one, like ballistic threats, needs to be, you know, like shot down or intercepted by the most advanced missiles, as we have like Patriot PAC-3, MSC or something, which are the most expensive, but also they are able, as only one, they are able to intercept, you know, ballistic missiles. So I think this is the reasoning behind of IBCS is, you know, based on the idea that we don't have to intercept all the targets. You know, it identify, you know, what can be damage made by any particular threats, and they decide based on that if there is a chance to intercept it or let it fall somewhere, you know, in the desert.
Because you mentioned that IBCS can integrate many platforms, intercept radars, and this is the question that we are very curious, because how does IBCS bridge the gap between the indigenous Polish radar and the US-centric systems?
Yeah, so basically this is idea of IBCS, that it should be able to integrate, you know, like a lot of different, you know, radars, launchers, and also, you know, it's far more than air defense system, because, you know, it combines also, you know, like early warning platforms, fighters, especially F-35, you know, ships, radars. So basically, system of the systems. So basically, it's crucial when it comes to the jointness. So basically, we have one commander of operation of the theaters. So he or she can decide which, you know, platform, which capabilities we need to use, you know, to achieve this particular goal. So I think it's most important demand from our armament agency, that our own radars, our own systems, which will be, you know, created for this short-range air defense, I mentioned Snarek systems will be integrated with IBCS.
And how does this capability redefine the strategic landscape for Poland and the Eastern European flank? That can not only protect Poland but broader sense of landscape.
Of course, we wanted to have our armed forces being integrated with United States, so operating similar systems. I think it's facilitate our common operation. So it's pretty easy when we will be using as ICBS when it comes to our defense. For example, if United States decided because of any risk deployment of additional Patriot batteries, as was the case at the beginning of the Russian war against Ukraine. United States decided to deploy, Patriot batteries to Poland to protect some facilities like Rzeszów-Jesionka, which is airbase crucial for providing Ukrainian with munition and other military equipment. So having like IBCS, it's very easy to integrate like American capabilities into our systems and work together. Same about F-35 or early warning platforms, because we will be all operating with the same systems.
The final question, Taiwan is looking to the Polish model for defense inspiration. So what is your advice for the Taiwan decision makers?
So basically, I think it's very good because you are following our experience, but we are following your experience as well. So from my perspective, it's crucial that you are developing your own air defense capabilities. So you have like more advanced industry, at least in terms of air defense, than we have. So as you know, you have your own domestic air defense system, which are comparable even to Patriots. So you should be proud of that, and you should continue development. You are of course in a little bit different situation than Poland is, because your freedom of maneuver is more limited. But nevertheless, I would say that you definitely need to continue your works on your own domestic solution, because it's making you independent. You're producing your own system, you're producing your own interceptors. So this is the most crucial thing. So basically, you shouldn't resign from this demand that your radars, your systems should be operated. If you decided to go for IBCS, you need to really demand to have your systems, like integrated with IBCS. IBCS is very smart tool. So I think it's good direction that you are considering these systems, because as we discussed, it allows you to decide which capabilities you need to use against this particular threat, because probably, as in case of Poland, you will face from the PRC kind of the comprehensive strike, including dozens of UAVs, which will be designated to fake your air defense, together with ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, hypersonic missiles. So it's very good to know what type of targets it is and which particular interceptors you need to use against those particular threats. So I think this is very good to have systems like that.
好，我们今天非常开心能够跟诺格波兰总经理来聊聊这个 IBCS 的经验，还有 IBCS 要如何改变现代的战争。当我们台湾在发展台湾之盾的同时，我们希望能够打破装备的樊篱，能够达到联网作战的系统。 多方都认为这对台湾绝对是一个加分的效果，那也值得我们在国防规划上面持续来关注。好，那以上就是这集的一件军外套，希望大家都喜欢，也对大家都有帮助。如果有任何疑问的话，欢迎在我们节目下方留言来告诉我们你的想法，也记得帮我们订阅、按赞加分享。那我们就下集再见喽，拜拜。